Once again, welcome to the newcomers, Study Language and Literary Studies in Germany. Here are our guests. And the organizer of the session is German University, a database where you can find study programs offered by German universities. There are more than 24,000 of them. And these today's programs are also listed here. However, why we suggest using the study finder is that because you have lots of filters and you can narrow down the search and find suitable program in your direction in your subject. If you want to know more about the universities, feel free to use the UniFinder, which also provides quite informative texts and info sessions about the universities, what they have, how they support international students, and so on. So yeah, I also find it quite informative. Then we have lots of articles and webinars where we try to connect you with your future program. And we also have general webinars when I or Camila present broader topics to you, like scholarships, Uni Assist, visa, studying in Germany. And we have a couple of German webinars now also starting this month, so it will be quite informative March, I promise. This is our team. We are based in Hamburg, Germany, counseling in different languages. And yeah, happy to share our experience, how it feels studying and of course living in Germany. Now, I use the study finder for you, and if you select the subjects language and literary studies, there is a field. Actually, you can combine different subjects if you want, and then adjust language requirements and something else. You see the results. There are 55 results, and they break down into bachelor and master, of course. But if you have specific requirements that you already have your IELTS, TOEFL test, and you are searching for a program that will specifically accept this, you can also adjust that, and then the search results will be relevant. If you want to know more about this subject itself, you can check our subject pages. They are also quite informative, provide information about the list of the program, tuition fees, application admission requirements, language requirements, and frequently asked rankings are also there. If you do not know how the university system in Germany works, we have guest speakers who can also answer your question in this regard. But I also want to mention that usually, what you need to keep in mind is that the study programs offered by universities are frequently more research and theory oriented, and universities of applied sciences usually have application and practice-oriented programs. However, there are always exceptions on both sides. Therefore, it's really important to check the program profile itself and then start the application accordingly. Having said this, I want to mention just randomly on the example of this linguistics study course that in case you want to apply and you don't know if you can apply or not, and there is no webinar in that second going on, you can always check the qualification requirements. And this is quite easy to understand, or at least have an idea if you qualify, because if there are some ECTS requirement on language requirement or exceptions that they are accepting, it's always mentioned in qualification requirements. And please keep in mind that qualification requirements is a must, and then there are also application documents that could include additional things that you need to submit. For example, it can be motivation letter or work experience or something. So I'm not saying that this is for requirements for this specific program, but application documents should be also really carefully followed and submitted accordingly. Okay, now without further ado, let's start with the bachelor's program, Bachelor of Arts, Language, Discourse and Power study course. And Professor 𝘗𝘢 will present today, and he also has a team member join.
Presentation on the BA program, Language, Discourse and Power. This BA program, I'm the one who is responsible for the program in the sense that I was the one who had the idea to create that program, because the older I get, I'm a linguist of modern English linguistics, and the older I get, more and more I become aware of the power of language. And we see it every day. We see it in any context. Of course, from my subject, I'm very interested in what is going on in the USA. And every day, every minute of every day, language is used for political purposes, for purposes of manipulation and so on. So it plays a very, very, very important role when it comes to anything that is important to all of us as a society, as a nation, as humans. So I think it's very important that we have a very good understanding of how language works. And I want to give you a couple of ideas of why language is really useful. And let's start with, this is Aristotle, more than 2,000 years ago. And Aristotle said humans are rational animals. The Greek term is zoon logikon. And he said, we are the only animals that use reason. Other animals do not use reason. And this sounds good, but then you all, I think most of us have witnessed the attacks on the Capitol riots on the 6th of January. And then you kind of start to doubt this aspect of rationality in humans. I think still like 50% of Republican voters, for instance, still think that the election was stolen, for instance, right? And there is no rational argument giving whatsoever. Still, they believe it. So what is going on there? The man on the right here, that's George Lakoff, and he says that what makes us people is we're all rational animals, and therefore we have the same reason because we're all human beings. So that is what he is repeating here is Aristotle's idea. So it follows from that, if you tell people the facts, that will lead them to the right conclusion. That's a good idea. And he says, and it doesn't work. The facts mean nothing. And this is a pretty bleak statement, right? We pride ourselves of being rational, but the facts mean nothing. And it seems to be a very strong statement, but there is a lot of truth in that. If you see this is from November 2014, so that was before 𝘗𝘢𝘕𝑛𝑦, before Pizzagate, before the Capitol riots and all that, so it's pretty old. But there are good reasons to assume that this is actually happening. What you see here on the left is taken from some research by Tversky and Kahneman, as you can see at the bottom. And they showed with this little experiment how important the language that we use is when it comes to decision making. This is the first, they had two groups. The first group got this little text. Imagine that the US is preparing for the outbreak of an unusual Asian disease, which is expected to kill 600 people. Two alternative programs to combat the disease have been proposed. Assume that the exact scientific estimates of the consequences of the programs are as follows. If program A is adopted, 200 people will be saved. If program B is adopted, there is 1/3 probability that 600 people will be saved and 2/3 probability that no people will be saved. Which of the two programs would you favor? So this is what group A got. This is what group B got. And we do not need to read all of that. The thing here is they describe exactly the same facts. The facts are fully identical. They are only worded in different ways. On the left, we talk about how many people will be saved. On the right, we talk about how many people will die. Okay, so it's just the wording. The fact remains the same. And then if we then take a look at how people decide which program they would favor, we see in the case of the left-hand text, 72% would favor program A and 28% would favor program B. And on the right, it's almost exactly the other way around. 22% will favor program A and 78% will favor program B. And it's the same, the programs are the same, they are just worded differently. So that is, I think, a very, very strong example that tells us how powerful language is. Just imagine people had to decide on things like that. And based on the language that their advisors use, they will make hugely different decisions based on the language that is used. So because we are not so rational, language plays a huge role. Nathaniel Hawthorne says, words, how potent for good and evil they become in the hands of one who knows how to combine them. And I want to give you two examples of combining words in a skillful way. There is this thing, George Lakoff, the guy I showed you the picture of before, he always starts his introduction to linguistics with this little task: don't think of an elephant. And of course, what will happen is this: you will think of elephants. You cannot help but think of elephants. And the idea is you can not negate something without conceptualizing the thing that you want to negate. And you cannot question or challenge something without conceptualizing the thing that you want to question or challenge. And this is used in politics. And it's called the just asking a question approach. And it is used to influence people, to make them think about something. So how to get away with saying something crazy? Begin with, I'm not an expert, but then say something crazy and then end with, I'm just asking questions. And this is an example. I'm no expert, but maybe Kennedy was assassinated by NASA because he learned they were going to fake the moon landing. I'm just asking questions. Okay, this is obviously a cartoon, but it happens all the time. If you listen to the news, wherever you are, you will see that these things happen. This is one example from Tucker Carlson back then when he was one of the hosts of Fox News. And that was about airline cancellations during COVID. And he says, we can tell you that the shutdown of Southwest Airlines over the weekend was a direct consequence. It was a reaction to Joe Biden's vaccine mandate. So that is a fact, okay? And then it goes on, at least 2 Amtrak train routes in the Northeast were canceled over the weekend. And so is a regularly scheduled car ferry in Washington state. Were these also protests against the Biden shot mandates? We cannot say for certain. It certainly wouldn't surprise us. So he seems innocent in just asking a question, but by asking the question, he plants into your minds the idea, okay, yeah, this is also Biden's fault. This is also the vaccine mandate's fault. Okay, we cannot help it. This is how our minds work. So, oh, sorry. So that is the text. Sorry. Please say something. Okay. The other example I want to give you is the example, the power that we have in names. In a linguistic jargon, we call this nomination, the act of giving something a name. And maybe a good example is you, right? What is the name that I give to you? If I talk of you as my students, that is a neutral name, and it's fine and good, nothing wrong with that. But then if I talk to you or think of you as my Gen Z snowflake students, that's a completely different thing. If I conceptualize you as snowflakes, right, with this comes a whole world of expectations and of causes and effects and so on. And with that comes a whole world of, if I'm doing a rubbish job or if things do not work well, it's not my fault. It's your fault because you are snowflake students and I cannot put you under any pressure. Okay, another example, a very prominent one, is the distinction between tax cuts and tax relief. Tax cuts just meaning we have to lower the taxes. Okay, and if we use the word tax relief instead, what happens is that we automatically conceptualize taxes as something bad, because you're only relieved from things that are bad. You cannot be relieved of good things. So even as a politician, you would then say, no, we do not need any more tax relief. You still make taxes something bad because you buy into that concept of tax relief, which makes taxes something bad. And the last example, very drastic example maybe, if we talk about a special military operation, or if we talk about illegal war of aggression, the war that we have on Ukraine at the moment. Okay, and the names that we use, this does make a difference. And there are many, many, many more cases in which the use of language can make a difference. And our idea in the study program was to show you ways and show the society ways of talking about these things, of analyzing these things, and then finally also challenge these things and these uses of language in a way we could say for good. Okay, that is the idea, that is the rationale behind that study program. And for the next 2 or 3 minutes, Lily will tell you a little bit about the structure of this study program. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Rolf, for giving us an idea of the content of the BA Language, Discourse and Power. I will talk to you about how the major is structured. So first of all, of course, everybody has to start with the beginnings. So you will learn about the basics. You will have an introduction to linguistics, but also an introduction to key concepts of power. You will also start to learn about empirical methods, right, in your first semester. So you will learn how to collect linguistic data, how to analyze linguistic data using empirical methods. You will, even though we have a very high advanced level of English required, you still will learn how to improve your English. So you will learn how to improve your writing and your grammar skills. Can you move forward, please, Rolf? Thank you. Then usually in your third or fourth semester, you will be able to choose your focus. So you can choose 2 out of those 4 seminars. So you either can take a further look into critical discourse analysis, which is about contemporary discourses and linguistically analyzing them and also evaluating them. You could also choose to focus on sociolinguistics, which deals with the intersection between society and language. So basically how social factors like age and gender can influence language. You could focus on intercultural communication, which is how people from different backgrounds and different cultures communicate and negotiate their cultures in communication. Or you could focus on language and the media, so how the medium influences the message. And we will also consider new media like TikTok and X in that seminar. You will still continue to improve your language skills. So you will improve your grammar, you will improve your academic writing. So that is one seminar that we have. You will improve your oral skills and your mediation skills. And then finally, of course, at the end of this study program, you'll write your BA thesis. We do have 2 things that kind of prepare you for that. First of all, we have an advanced seminar that's called Researching Language and Discourse and Power, which really focuses on the researching aspect. And the Communicating Science seminar is kind of like a colloquium, which will accompany your BA thesis. So this will help you write your BA thesis, but it will also help you with presenting your research to an academic audience. In the study program, there is a obligatory internship, so you will already gain job experience. It will take over 8 weeks. And you will also have the module called Job Skills, where you can very freely choose different courses that might be beneficial for your future jobs. So things like maybe learning to program in a language or learning about Excel or things like that. Yes, and we have an exemplary study plan for you. So this is just, again, an example of how your course might be structured. The benefit of the BA LDP is that it is part of a combination bachelor. So you can combine it with, I don't know the number, but a lot of different minors. So because you have that flexibility, you can really move around your studies however it might fit you. And what also is another advantage of that flexibility is that you can easily integrate a semester abroad. So you can see all of these little blue dots on the map are all of our partner universities. So we have a very large number of them. I just picked out 4. So if you are interested in going to the US, we have the Hessen, Massachusetts program. If you want to go to Australia, there's the Hessen, Queensland program. And of course, we have a lot of different partner universities in Europe, which are financed by Erasmus, for example, the Universidad de Oviedo in Spain or the University of Southampton in Great Britain. Right, so that was it from us. Thank you so much for listening. I already saw that a lot of questions came in. I think we'll answer them at the very end, right? But thank you so much for listening, and hopefully we'll see you in Marburg one day.
Let me give the mic to Meta Geisbusch from University of Stuttgart.
Yeah, a warm welcome from my side as well. I will do a short presentation today on the Master on Computational Linguistics program of the University of Stuttgart, and just want to give you some facts and figures and insight, and yeah, try to spark your interest for our program at the University of Stuttgart. My name is Meta Geisbusch, and I will now continue. Maybe not all of you are aware of where Stuttgart actually is located in Germany. So just a small map to show you where we are actually in Germany. And we are in the southwestern part of Germany, which is, I think, a very nice area actually to be at. I'm originally from the Netherlands, and I really enjoy the environment here. It's very close to, for example, mountains, lakes. So if you like hiking, skiing, for me as a Dutch person, it took me always a very long time to go to the mountains. So I really love being here, and it's also very close to very nice cities in Germany, but also in Europe. We're very well connected, for example, to many European capitals. You can go to Milan in 5 hours, or to Amsterdam, for example, in 5 hours. So it's a very centrally located university city, and it's also a very international city, what I like myself as well. There are so many people from different countries here, not only studying, but also working here. And the city offers many events and things to do besides studying. So it's a nice place to be, actually. And probably you've heard as well of the region here in Stuttgart. It's a region with many big companies, for example. There's a large industry here, and you can see on the slide as well some of the names of the big companies who are here in this Stuttgart area. And it's also a very innovative region in Europe. So we have a lot of startups here. There's a lot of expenditure on research and development. And yeah, so very interesting region. Our university is a very, it's of course a research-oriented university, and we have around 20,000 students at the moment. They are divided among 10 faculties, and I would say 25% of those students are from abroad, so it's quite international as well. And what is, I would say, a thing which is typical for the University of Stuttgart is that we have cooperations with not only industry partners, of course, but also many external research institutions, like, for example, the Max Planck Institutes or Fraunhofer, or institutes like that. We also have many partner universities worldwide, and we are at the moment at the top 3 universities in Germany for third-party funding per professor. Here you see some pictures of, for example, the labs, or yeah, also the institutes we have here in Stuttgart, and the labs are very well equipped. So it's possible to do excellent research here. Just one slide, I won't go through it, but all about awards and rankings, and especially in engineering and the computer science areas, we receive very good rankings. Here you see you get an idea of some events we have. We have like every summer our campus speech. At campus, we have 2 campuses. One in the city center and one a bit more outside, but very well connected to the city center as well. You can do sports here. There are at the campus, which is not in the city center, but where the program is offered. There are also restaurants or bars or things you can do here as well. And yeah, so a lot to do also besides your studies. Now, I would like to say something about the program. It's a master's program, and it is combining expertise in linguistics and computer science. And I would say it's a very, it's bridging, of course, the understanding of language with technical skills. So I would say in this area of AI, it's a very interesting program also for literature or linguistic students, just to further develop their technical skills as well, and to even get, you know, other jobs besides the jobs you might have with your linguistics programs. It's a small program in this sense that every semester we admit among 30 students. So there's an excellent student-lecturer ratio. Here you will see just an example of the program structure. This is one for non-computational linguistic graduates, and the other one is for computational linguistic graduates, I mean the bachelor. So there are, of course, core modules, models you have to take. There are elective models, and we also have key competences in the program. And then in the end, of course, you have to do your master thesis. We have 3 areas of specialization, which are core computational linguistics, applied natural language processing, and speech processing. And what I said before as well, we have a close connection with the industry. You can do, for example, your research internships in industry. Master thesis can be written in cooperation with industry as well. You have to send a request on forehand. So there are some restrictions there as well, but it is possible. And of course, the cooperation with the industry offers our students a lot of possibilities to get, for example, a student job in one of those companies. The program is offered by the Institute for Natural Language Processing, and it's a very renowned institute, not only in Germany, but also European-wide, I would say. And it's renowned for its research and industry projects. We have state-of-the-art technology and equipment, so like the labs and all the things you need. And the institute is embedded into a large computer science department, and of course also very actively connected to the linguistics department. And as I already mentioned before, it's rather small if you compare it, for example, to the computer science institutes or also the electrical engineering institutes we have at Faculty 5, of which this program or at this faculty is the program offered. So we have about 50 colleagues and at the moment about 150 students. So it's a very, the students know each other very well. They know their professors very well. It's a very nice atmosphere here. Some information about the application admission requirements. We have an application phase and an admission phase twice a year. The application deadlines are either January 15 or July 15. So it's only 3 months in advance you have to apply for it. You have to apply directly via our online campus portal, so not via UniAssist, for example. And no German language skills are required for this program, which doesn't mean it's not possible to learn German. I would say it's very important as well if you're planning to come to Germany to learn at least a bit of German, and of course, even more if you're planning on staying afterwards. It will make life much more easy and also enhance your job perspectives. But to get admission to this program, you need a C1 level for your English skills. And you can find more detailed information on the program's website. The tuition fee for non-European students is 1,500 euros per semester. This is since our university is located in the state of Baden-Württemberg, so not at every German university you have to pay tuition fees, but it is the case in Baden-Württemberg. And you have to pay a semester fee of about 180 euros. It is possible to get accommodation on campus, both in the city center or also at the campus we are located at. But of course, you can also search for private flats or things like that. There's a lot of information available on the website of the international office of our university, and they have guides there, guidelines there, and also step to step how to search for accommodation and what to be aware of, for example. So there's a lot of information at our websites. Scholarships are the university doesn't offer scholarships itself, but it doesn't mean that there aren't any possibilities. For example, you can apply for scholarships by the 𝘗𝘪𝘵 or other foundations, for example. And last but not least, we have very good student job opportunities here at the University of Stuttgart. And I would like to mention that especially for our international students, we offer very extensive support. So you see on this slide, we have the central level where we have the international office who's in charge of all international students and also of students who would like to go abroad. So they offer a lot of general information, but also orientation and guidance sessions, welcome days, a step-to-step guide. They offer buddy and mentoring programs, and especially after admission, they already offer, for example, pre-departure sessions, which help you to get organized and to go through the steps you have to take before coming to Germany and Stuttgart. And then also on the faculty level, we have the International Service Point. That is for Faculty 5. And that's not for every faculty at our university, but since at Faculty 5, we have many, many international students, we have our own service point for international students as well. And what we do, for example, part of this International Service Point is that we offer personal counseling support. We organize a lot of social events. We answer, of course, all the inquiries we get, not only from prospective students or applicants, but also from our enrolled students. So there's a lot of support. And what we also do is in collaboration with the Language Center, we offer tailored German language courses for our students, for example, or also learning counseling and a career service for after your studies. Yes, well, thank you very much for your attendance today. And I don't know if we can answer all questions you might have today. That was not even the aim, but what my aim was just to give you a short introduction, and you can reach out to us if you have any further questions, if you have any specific questions. I will be very happy to answer all your questions also afterwards if you send us an email or contact us. So that's possible too. And on this slide, you see also the study program manager, Mrs. Stephanie Anstein, who will be your contact person as well in case you decide to study with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Meta, for all the details you provided. And yeah, let us start with a Q&A. Let me read according to the list. I have a question about the master in. Okay, this is a mistake. It should be bachelor in Marburg. The title Language Discourse Power sounds quite interdisciplinary. How strong is a balance between linguistic theory, political science, and sociology in the curriculum?
So thanks, David. The BA program is a linguistic BA program. So the focus is 95% linguistics. We will do a little bit of linguistic, we will do a little bit of political theory, a little bit of philosophy when we talk about power, for instance, a little bit of sociology, but it is a fully linguistic program. However, since we have this structure of main subject and subordinate subjects, if you want to, and if that is what you want to, where you want to go, you can always choose a minor subject in sociology or in political sciences, for instance. That would be an option.
Thank you. A question in the same direction for Meta. Can we combine computational linguistics with other fields like psychology?
Well, it is possible to, for example, in your electives, to take some courses outside of the program or from other interests. But of course, your main focus will be on the computational linguistics courses. So it is possible, but it's not really like a combination of the two of this. It's just only possible in the elective course. Yeah. Work.
Thank you. Question maybe for both. I think it came during the bachelor, but maybe if Meta you want to follow up as well, please go ahead. I have a bit skeptical question. In the era of AI, do you still see potential of further career in the subject?
Well, yeah, I think especially for computational linguistics, this is actually what I would think would offer linguistic students an even better career option, since it of course combines not only the understanding of language, but it gives you also the technical tools to, for example, work in areas where you have AI and where you need these technical skills. So I think it's probably the combination of both, like doing a bachelor first in language or linguistics, and then combine it also with, more the computational side, makes you a very interesting candidate, I would say, for a lot of companies. And also, of course, for academia, not to forget.
Yeah, Professor?
Yeah, and maybe from our point of view, I think what we need more and more as artificial intelligence advances is that we need to find ways to demonstrate what makes us special as humans. Maybe, I don't know how good AI will get. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's not much left to being human, but that's kind of a pessimistic viewpoint here. But I think there is a good chance that if we still remain those that kind of can look behind the scenes, that have a deeper understanding of what is going on, of how things are run and what the mechanisms behind that is, this makes us valuable for any workplace still, I think. So I think, particularly with our strong focus also on methodological aspects, this will be, I would say, like a more future-oriented choice, as for instance, having a literary studies BA program or something like this, a bit like Meta said, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Then there is a comment, I think, this is as a follow-up to your presentation part, Professor Kaya. It says, and this is such an interesting point, I have noticed it also, why observing the language of Russian propaganda, this technique is always used, crazy statement followed by it seems like, it looks like, so that no one is held responsible and the propaganda reaches the viewers, the exact target group. So
Yes.
yeah, it's just...
That's an excellent point, exactly. Yeah, and that's the nice thing about our study program, is that everywhere you look as you're studying, you will find examples of these things everywhere in your daily life, in the language that you encounter. So it will be very easy for you to find examples of how things are done, and it will be very easy for you to find data that you can analyze, because the data is in your life, and you can recognize what is the effect that that has on my conceptualization of the world. So that was a very keen observation. Exactly, that is going on in many, many different ways.
Thank you. A question for Meta. How much programming experience is expected when entering the computational linguistics master? Would applicants with a linguistics background but limited coding skills need to prepare in advance?
Yes, that's a very good question. We receive every semester many applications from linguistic students as well, without any programming skills, and we recommend these applicants to on forehand do at least some do a programming course, for example, online, and to get a bit of skills there, because it will not only enhance your admission requirements, but it will also help you afterwards during your studies here, of course, as well. But it doesn't mean that it's not entirely impossible without any programming skills to get admitted or to be successful. Because what we also do is that in case you're a very strong applicant, for example, but you lack these programming skills or you're not so familiar with it, you, for example, can get an admission with some not restrictions, but Auflagen it's called. So we'll tell you then to take some mandatory courses, for example, introduction into programming, to keep up with the others, for example. And what we also recommend is for students without any programming or computational linguistics backgrounds to apply for the winter semester, because some of the introductory modules you need to understand the rest of the courses, especially if you're not familiar with computational linguistics, are only offered in winter semester. So therefore, we also recommend you to then think of applying for winter semester. It is not impossible to start in summer semester, but it might be that you have to wait a bit, or you will lose some time because you can't take courses you want because you're lacking some skills. Yeah.
Thank you for advice as well. For the bachelor's programs, let me read out the two questions. Is there a lot of academic writing from the beginning? And for the discourse analysis, are you using softwares or just AI tools?
So we'll try to kind of ease you into the academic writing. So we will not start right away. In the first 2 semesters, there are many written or oral exams, but it's like starting from semester 3, we will start with essays and little research papers that you will have to write. So we'll ease you into that slowly. And of course, the last big BA thesis then, of course, is a larger research project. From a methodological point of view, We are very strongly invested into corpus linguistics. That is, we use statistical methods and apply these to huge amounts of data. So that is our primary focus with regard to methods. But also, of course, if 𝘈𝘕𝘓𝘕 is helpful for the analysis of texts and stuff like that, for the annotation of text, we use that as well, yes. But our primary focus is in corpus linguistics.
Thank you.
Please feel free to add something, Lily, right? If I forget.
Nothing to add.
Thank you. I think this question about NLP, if I hadn't done NLP before, what should I learn first for Stuttgart was partially already answered in the previous question, that it's recommended to apply in the winter semester and you can take some mandatory courses. Another question for you, Meta. Are we encouraged to build our own models from scratch or mostly adapt existing frameworks?
That's a good question. I actually can't really answer. I need to get back to you. So this person can send me an inquiry because I have to ask Stephanie about that. She knows more about the program in this sense in detail than I do. But I saw also some questions about, for example, is it more theoretical or what is really offered in the program? And it's very in this sense it's where was this question about right. Da-da-dum. Yeah, it's also about, it's of course about machine learning programs. It's not only theoretical, it's very practical as well. But as people can send me inquiries if they want to, because I think it will be hard to answer all those questions in detail, and I would love to answer all your questions. So please feel free after this webinar to send us inquiries, and then I will give you a detailed answer on that as well.
Thank you. Question for Marburg from Sarah. Since it's a combined bachelor's degree, which minors would you suggest? And I think I saw something about the application documents, but I cannot see the question any longer. Yeah.
Lily, do
Yeah.
you want to maybe?
Exactly. I think I can answer that question. I mean, in the end, it is your decision with what you want to combine your major, right? So there are multiple options there. What we find, what a lot of students do combine their LDP is either other languages. So, for example, our university also offers Spanish or French as minors. Students also like to combine it with gender studies and feminist sciences. And if you want to maybe go more the sociological route, then our university also offers sociology as a minor or political science as a minor. So those are just a few options that you have. But again, it depends on your interests.
Thank you. And the documents?
Excuse me?
There was a question about the documents, but I think you also answered this one, right? The application documents, I mean.
So the application just works the same way as every other degree in our university. So you basically need a Hochschulzulassungsbescheinigung. I don't know the English word for that. And you
University
have
qualification, university entrance qualification.
Thank you so much. Exactly that. And you need to provide us with a C1 level of English, and we don't have requirements, so there's no grade that you have to have.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, there is this comment again for Professor Kaya. I really like all these concepts behind this. I actively observe these political discourses as one example I brought of Russian propaganda. I really like the field in terms of the career in the field. Would you say that it is more the academic career doors will open rather than other types of the jobs in the industry? And how possible it would be to find a job in Germany, relevant job, fitting job, after completing your bachelor's, of course, followed by similar style master. I'm just worried that although I like the field and have been involved in it myself, I will just left me without any viable career options.
Thank you for that question. I mean, that's a difficult question at the moment with AI and everything developing at that fast pace. But what I can say is, if I compare our study program to, let's say, other study program in the humanities and arts, for instance, which maybe is the best comparison we can make, I would think that because of the strong focus on empirical methods and not just, language and text and so on, you will have a huge advantage in comparison to many, many other study programs in the humanities and arts. Whether at some point, I don't know, people in the industry are more relevant or more necessary than people coming from a humanities and arts study program, that is, of course, a question that I cannot answer. Maybe AI will take over there as well. We do not really know yet. But what I can say with good conscience is that I think in comparison to many other programs in the humanities and arts, this will provide you with will provide you with better skills for the job market.
Thank you. Question for Meta. There was if someone wants to go into startup instead of academia, does the program support that path?
Well, yes. The good thing is that we have even at the University of Stuttgart, we have, for example, our Arena 2036, which is called, where a lot of companies are collaborating with our university and where there's a stage actually for young startups coming from university, for example. So indeed, this is a possibility as well. There's, of course, we are a research-oriented university, but since we're so very well connected with the companies and the industry, it is, of course, also possible to search for jobs in other areas, and you will get support there, of course, as well. Yes.
Thank you. I'm in parallel also sending some links to students. Okay. There was a question if you have also a consecutive master in Marburg after the bachelor.
Unfortunately, not yet. So at the moment, we'll see how the BA program goes. And if the BA program is successful, then we'll also start and design a master. Yeah. But that is planned, but in the maybe medium term, not short term.
Thank you. Meta, you mentioned about the Baden-Württemberg tuition fee, and the question is, can somebody apply? Is there a specific scholarship for that tuition? And how exactly do you choose those 30 students per batch?
I think the question was as well how you can avoid it, or are there any exemptions? There are, but it's for example only possible if you, for example, have very strong ties with Germany, in the sense that you have been living here for many, many, many years, or your parents lived here as well. Or I don't know exactly the exemptions, but there are some exemptions. But in general, students who or applicants who come from outside the EU have to pay these tuition fees. On the other hand, of course, you have to pay for it. On the other hand, you get a lot of support in return for it as well. And if you compare it, for example, to other programs, for example, in my home country, in the Netherlands, we're used to paying tuition fees. Even the Dutch pay tuition fees for their studies as well. So if you compare it to the tuition fees in some other countries, it's still, I would say, doable. Of course, it's money, and but there are possibilities to look for scholarships, or what many students do is that they have like student assistant jobs at institutes or other jobs, for example, to finance their studies as well. And the admission process, or actually the admission committee, it's not like that every semester we have a batch of 30. It's just, it depends, of course, also on how many applications we receive for the program. And we see that the interest in this program is ever growing. So it depends, of course, also on the competitiveness of all the other applicants, and how strong your application is. So it's hard to to give just a general answer on how we or the admissions committee select these students. But if you want to have an idea of what you should bring as an applicant to be successful, please have a look at the program's website. You can find the requirements there. And also you can, of course, as I already mentioned, send us an email, and we can just see what your background is, and give you some advice there as well.
Thank you. Question for the bachelor's program. For someone whose first language is not English, how challenging are classes like critical discourse analysis? I'm in C1 on paper, and for bachelor's, does it really has equation?
The C1 that we demand of you is kind of a university internal C1. So I think in terms of TOEFL and things like that and IELTS, it rather translates to B2. So it's not quite a C1. If you go to the so for instance, with regard to IELTS, you should be between 7.0 and 8.0. That is what we expect of you. And I think in other systems, that would be a B2 rather than a C1. But we do expect of you, everything will be in English. So we do expect of you that your English is more or less fluent, that you have no problem whatsoever reading academic papers, research papers in English. We do need that, yes. Lily, would you like to add something?
To add on to that, the critical discourse analysis, for example, is a seminar usually situated in the fourth semester. So by that, you will already have done all of the language skills modules. So your English will have already improved while being in university as well. So I would say that should be.
Thank you. In our pre-webinar meeting, I said, yeah, usually we will be done by 5, but now we already have 51 questions answered and 9 more open. So let me wrap it up, because I promised to go maximum 5 minutes over time. And yeah, there is again a comment for the ongoing communication with Professor Kaya. I share your pessimism with AEI professors. Such a shame that humanity decided to go so deep into it. I feel that even to the extent that the intelligence education is getting less valuable. As a comment, and the question then is for Meta, how many year gap after bachelor's does Germany accept? And they wanted to have a feedback about, I think, internship or study abroad during the master's. Can you tell more about the opportunities to study abroad during the master's program? Yeah, that's how it was.
Mm-hmm. Well, the last question, yes, it is possible to also go abroad during your studies at the University of Stuttgart when you're in your Masters of Computational Linguistics. It is challenging, I would say, because I would say the majority of you are already, of course, coming from abroad. So it is challenging, but it is possible. And we have many partner universities. So if it's something you really would like to do, then there's a possibility to do so. When it comes to how many years
of gap after bachelor's,
hard to answer. I would say I can just, from my experience in Stuttgart, for example, I would say the majority of students have working experience before they start the masters with us. So it's not that they finish their bachelor's and then right away start their master's. So this is possible, like a couple of years of a gap in between. I would only say that it might also be challenging if this gap is, of course, too big, because then maybe you are the distance to academia is maybe too big then, or you're, I don't know if it's then easy to adapt again to the system at universities, but that's more or less my personal meaning about that. Maybe you, Nino, can say something about that in general. I'm not aware of a hard gap. Yeah.
Usually there is no restriction in terms of gap. Only if you apply for scholarship, and especially for data scholarship, no more than 6 years of gap is accepted. However, when you do, because in lots of webinars, I also have this feedback that if you are returning to a academia after a 10-year gap or so, it could be more questioning and also a bit difficult for you to readjust to the environment of like deep dive into the, regular student life. So legally, there is no reason, there is no ground to reject application because of the gap, but probably they could also ask you to do additional interview or something. This is what I have heard from many programs. Briefly, 2 comments from my side. There is a question about the visa support. So all universities have international offices for such kind of things. However, for visa, it's really important that you apply early so that you have feedback early, and then you can start the visa process early. The universities are aware that the visa timing takes even several months sometimes in different countries. However, university itself cannot, do anything except for maybe if they can provide some letter, but they cannot force to review your application faster. And another question about the age, as already mentioned, so age is not a restriction in Germany. Everybody is always welcome to do study course. It can be second bachelor or second master. It's possible.